Welcome back to my channel, Star Booze.
What did I do? What arrived? Me? Who am I? It was amazing. I adored each and every minute. However, she forced us to chuckle. She brought us to tears. Additionally, for 50 years, Sally Field dedicated her entire Hollywood's heart. From Norma to Gidget, she brought fire to Forrest Gump and Ray. Honesty and grace in all roles. However, now there's a soft conversation behind the scenes. Rumors that Sally is fighting something important. Her condition has deteriorated to an increasing worry, and admirers who have adored, she had been very concerned for years. Thus, what is actually taking place? Is Sally Field bidding farewell to the limelight? From her traumatic past to her most recent tragic update, please join us as we discover the reality of Sally Shartist chapter to date. A distressed, the fame's childhood. Field, Sally on November 6, 1946. He was born in California's Pasadena. Her mom, actress Margaret Field, was one of them. Her Richard Field, the father, worked as a chemist and participated in World War II as well. Separated in 1950, when Sally was only a kid. Her mother got married in 1952, Jock Mahoney, in Mexico's Tijuana. He was a stuntman and actor. Sally possessed 1. Richard Dryden Field, Jr., his brother, who became a physicist later on. On her family roots are on her father's side, to Sicily. She was also fluent in English and Irish heritage. Sally visited Portola, Birmingham after middle school Vannis High School. She was a cheerleader while she was in school. Later on, a few of her classmates turned into renowned individuals such as Michael Millen and Michael Weitz. Cindy Williams, an actress, was 1 year behind her. However, Sally appeared to, at first glance, a typical schoolgirl. At home, everything was totally different. In Pieces, her 2018 memoir, she revealed unpleasant facts about her early years. She stated that Jock Mahoney, her stepfather, mistreated her as a small child. He would invite her to his apartment and inquire about to walk on his back. He would then turn as she approached and touched her. Him. She penned, 1 foot ahead of up his chest, the opposite way. I walked carefully, my hands were loose in his nightgown, went up after sliding across my legs, attempted to avoid contact, but he would lower, she murmured, unaware how to interpret it. It would have been, what if he had restrained me and made me red? He didn't, but I did. Was that affection? Was because he was in love with me? I wrote, she wrote. When she was 14, the torture ceased, although she carried the memory with her forever. She carried that anguish throughout adulthood, even as she made her way into the spotlight, become well known. Sally Field started her televised career. Her first significant role appeared in Gidget, a comedic series that broadcast between 1965 and 1966. She subsequently starred in the from 1967 until 1970, Flying Nun, and the from 1973 until now, Girl with Something Extra 1974. However, she made her film debut earlier. She made an appearance in Moon Pilot as an extra, 1962. She went on to star in The Way, West, 1967. Continued to Famine Smoke Okie and The Bandit, 1976, 1977. Heroes Hooper, 1978, The End, 1978, and 1977. With her, Sally turned into a serious actor. Hitzaitik's performance in Sibyl. It was a TV movie, and she was awarded the Prime. Her strong performance earned her a Time Emmy Award. She received her first Academy Award in 1979 for Norma Rae's Best Actress Award. She prevailed. 1984 saw her win her second Oscar for Places in the Heart. These honors demonstrated that she was not merely a television personality, Additionally, she starred in popular films including A's 1981, Absence of Malice, Goodbye Kiss Steal, 1982, Murphy's Romance, 1985, Soap Dish, Magnolias, 1989, Mrs. Forrest Gump, 1994, Doubtfire, 1993. The 2000s saw her go back to TV. Her appearance on ER as a guest earned in 2001, she received another Emmy. Between 2006 and she portrayed Nora Walker in the 2011 Brothers and Sisters, a drama series, and for that she was also awarded an Emmy. She appeared in the 2012 film as Mary, Todd Lincoln. A movie that gave her another nominated for an Oscar. She also portrayed Ant in 2012's The Amazing Spider-Man, May and its follow-up in 2014. Her other projects included Hi There, I'm for Brady, 2023, Doris, 2015, 80, and the 2018's Netflix series Maniac. In relation to BTW, did you realize that she also did And on stage? Her Broadway debut 2002 saw the release of The Goat, or Who is Sylvia? She came back in 2017 with her performance in Glass Menagerie earned her a Tony nomination. Moreover, she appeared in All My Sons in the West End of London 2019. However, despite her career's success, the misery of her recent and previous issues behind the scenes kept coming after her. Anguishing Hollywood recollections. Hollywood wasn't Sally Field is always kind. Within her, she described in her story how she was mistreated by Jimmy Webb, songwriter, 1968. She had, after smoking, they fell asleep, together, and when she awoke, he was there, pressing against her. She was perplexed and put the blame on herself. Perhaps I had requested. She considered lying on his bed to accomplish this. Perhaps I hadn't taken off my trousers all the way up, so what could he have believed? Afterward, according to Jimmy Webb, they had a typical relationship similar to that of many individuals in their 20s. He rejected her account of what happened. However, Sally saw that moment as genuine and it remained in her mind. She also spoke regarding yet another unsettling incident at a movie screening. In 1976, she was auditioning for the film Stay Hungry. According to her, the filmmaker, Bob Rafelson, informed her that he would only throw someone who was good at kissing. Thus, she gave him a kiss. It had to have been excellent. Enough, she wrote. Rafelson rejected her assertions. I never made anyone, he said. To get apart, kiss him. However, once more, Sally remained true to her story. These types of many young people had similar experiences. Hollywood women, but few discussed openly. Sally did, although not very well, later in life. The more she disclosed, more people were aware of the suffering behind her, achievement, and there was more she'd concealed a secret that she was unable to disclose till later. Field, Sally further disclosed an intimate moment, something she had concealed, since she was young for many years. In 1964, at the age of 17, she discovered she was expecting a child. At the moment, she was about to begin her initial significant part on TV in Gig. The same man who had mistreated his stepfather created a plan for her to have an abortion in Mexico. At the time, in the United States, abortion was prohibited. States. Her mom and a friend from the family accompanied her. She kept the name to herself of the man who conceived her, yet she said that it was a person she had recently met. Completing high school, she retained the experience to herself and proceeded with her profession. Afterwards, her encounter prompted her to advocate for rights to reproduction. In 2022, she said to Variety regarding new legislation that was restricting access to abortion in the United States. That's what the men were doing, and the majority of these governors are men who were doing it are so illiterate and outdated and genuinely just lust for power. I said, she said, I think it's illegal, she thought. Those laws aimed to eradicate the advancements for women, individuals of the LGBTQ community, and color. Sally Field had fought all of her life. Silently. Now, as she started to divulge her honesty, the world witnessed her strength truly was, even if she was in pain. Within, an aircraft accident that might have put an end to everything. In 1988, Sally Field came dangerously near to dying. She, Alan Graceman, her ex-husband, and Sam, their 11-month-old son, was completely focused on board MV Griffin's private aircraft. They were going to travel when the worst occurred. As the aircraft attempted to launch, it abruptly lost control. It collided with a parked aircraft close by. No one was murdered somehow. However, it was an experience of great terror. The plane was wet but did not explode. In jet fuel. Everybody on board was covered. Later, Sally told People All I Was Thinking was, "Hold, magazine. Let's go on to Sam. I didn't mind breaking each and every bone in my body." She believed she maybe crushed her infant during the crash, but fortunately, Sam was totally all right. It is illogical that the aircraft didn't explode. It is illogical that we're still here. I also have to survive, with that sensation. That time, she said, haunted her. It wasn't only about survival. It has to do with motherhood, a wife, and contemplating death in a few seconds. However, that wouldn't be Sally's most recent encounter with something unpleasant. Her romantic life had its own fluctuations, many of which remained years in the dark. An intricate past with men and love. The 1960s and Sally Field's career in the 1970s was taking. Her dating life was also off. Among the first person associated with her was an actress. Major, Lee, both of them at the time were aspiring celebrities. However, their not widely verified relationship, according to a 1972 article, they were together for a long time. Later, Major made a suggestion regarding their in his song, Unknown, They Spend Time Together. The theme song for the event was Stuntman He Did His program, The Fall Guy. The lyrics state that he boasted, "Sally and I have been on fire." The Field. Although it wasn't a complete confession, leading others to assume the rumor was accurate. Prior to it, in 1967, Pete Duell, Sally's boyfriend, had played Gig's brother-in-law. Their love affair began following the conclusion of the show. In a Sally stated in that year's interview was not an important matter. "We're have fun, dude, just having fun. And it's quite uncommon by itself. Why are they unable to let it by yourself?" However, tragedy marked the conclusion of their tale. In 1971, Pete Duell passed away on December 31st through suicide. They excel at co-parenting. Despite 2 marriages and multiple prominent relationships, Sally didn't provide abandoning love. But she began to take Remove Yourself from the limelight and from dating and accepting life on one's own. In 1995, Sally appeared in public for the first time with someone fresh. She arrived at the Jerry Knight's Waterworld debut. He appeared in the movie as a technician and television. In the same year, she took him to the Emmy Awards as well, where they grinned and clasped hands on the red carpet. However, as previously, the romance ended. Additionally, this time, it was a quiet breakup. Once they parted ways, Sally ceased going out in public with any fresh partners. She concentrated on raising her son and honing her acting skills initiatives. The media ceased to follow her romantic life because it wasn't very to document. Years later, Sally attested to said she was content with her single status. She discussed it in 2021 on a Live Talks event in Los Angeles. She claimed to be, considering all of her previous relationships, as well as what she had discovered from them. "I'm analyzing my appearance on a regular basis, seeking affection, and the way I was instructed to understand what love is," she said. She stated, "I don't feel loved and seen. unless I'm scared too. There's a problem with that. Then she said, "Now I don't even try." Laughing, "I'm quite content with who I am, and I'd really rather not pick your pants." Still, I got up in the morning. However, not everyone had abandoned the notion of Sally falling in love once more. Although working on Brady's 2023 film, 80 NFL player Tom Brady made a light-hearted make a remark about her. He made light of his podcast in which they were on camera's small item and added, "We truly loved spending time with you, so we'll see where it continues." However, whether or nothing appears to come of it, Sally dot certain about one thing. At last, she is content with or without a significant other. Currently, Sally Field has collaborated within her lengthy career. Numerous well-known figures, one among the most heartwarming things she said, originated during her time spent with Robin Williams. The day that Robin Williams took over. When Mrs. Doubtfire was being filmed in 1993, her life was altered by an incident forever. She was in her camper, sitting, getting ready for a courtroom scene on the set. Then she received a call. Her dad, who had experienced a stroke a few years prior and had passed away, was in a nursing home, away from yet another severe stroke. The field had to make the painful choice in order to remove him from life support. However, even despite the anguish, she returned to work and made every effort to keep going. Filming. "I was making every effort to do something," she said. She didn't cry. She remained silent. However, Robin Williams realized there was a problem. He softly drew her away and inquired about what had occurred. He didn't when she told him, "Hold on, God forbid, we must get you. Get out of here now," he said. Robin spoke with the staff and made plans for them to spend the remainder of the day shooting without Sally. She could go home and give her a call. Brother, and start organizing for the death of her father. "It's a side of Robin that few people were familiar with," she shared. He was quite perceptive and intuitive. In 2014, Robin Williams passed away. Later, Sally remarked, "I feel shocked," and so he constantly got excited when he heard that Robin was depressed. He had the ability to make others laugh. He was unique. There won't be one more. However, underneath, that sentimental a woman with memory was discreetly bearing suffering not only from that day but from a persistent medical condition that she would subsequently talk about openly, combating a sickness that is quiet. In 2005, Sally Field received a diagnosis of osteoporosis. It is a bone condition that weakens and makes bones more brittle. However, initially, she was unaware that she had EAT. "I felt like my bones were getting slowly declining without any indications of I could see or feel symptoms," she stated during a WebMD interview. She was over 50, white, slender, petite, and possessed a family history of the illness. "It was nearly a given," she said. Health Day, New, 2006. Sally left, reticent to discuss her diagnosis. She made advantage of Hirar to caution other females. In an Oprah interview, she stated, "I'm attempting to reach women with the message to request a test for bone density at Theat, the same moment they get a Pap scandal," she clarified. 1 out of every 2 women over 50 will experience hardship. A fracture associated with osteoporosis, but most individuals are unaware of how dangerous it is. Later, she began the rally with "Sally will assist with the Bone Health Program." Women are aware of the dangers and receive examined. She stated in Ability magazine, they must be informed of their risk and how to safeguard themselves. They ought to be receiving bone density scans when they get old enough. Even with appropriate calcium, diet, and exercise, Sally couldn't halt the illness. Osteoporosis is referred to be the silent illness since it does not exhibit any signs until it is too late. She continued to struggle, although her health was one of the numerous challenges that led to her remain out of the spotlight, accepting her age and being subjected to harsh criticism. Now in her late 70s, Sally Field has decided to age organically. She had never plastic surgery, but she never made an effort to conceal her gray hair or wrinkles. 2016, I see myself on TV and say, she remarked, "Oh, I wish my situation weren't like that. Your face and neck are lowering, and your eyes are so puffy," she thought, in regard to oneself. She urged ladies to embrace their current selves rather than pursuing the how things used to appear. However, she received kindness from everyone. In 2018, she became the focus of internet trolling. A few on Twitter, many referred to her as ugly and made derogatory remarks about her on social media. Look, these derogatory remarks demonstrated the negative aspects of social media. Regardless, she had spent her life playing influential roles and advocating for the health of women. A few, nevertheless, decided to assault her for the simple reason, growing older, the actress remained powerful. She was aware of what was important. She had, after all, experienced love, heartbreak, sickness, and loss. She had reared kids, weathered the storms and downs of Hollywood. That power is what made her who she was. However, even as she remained silent about a lot of her suffering, the people started to notice how uncommon she was. Looks and her evolving way of life, less roles and a tranquil life. Sally Field used to be one of the biggest celebrities in Hollywood. She played the lead in Mrs. Steel Magnolia, Woodland, and Outfire Gump. However, things are different now. When she was spotted strolling in September 2024, Dash, her dog, in Los Angeles. She had on a white capris, striped shirt, and a large hat for the sun. She appeared uncomplicated, relaxed, and calm. However, a lot of supporters were taken aback. She appeared quite skinny to some. A few even claimed that she didn't look like herself. She is also momentarily returned to social media. During the same year, she posted encouraged and backed Claw Harris voters. "I am this, and this is, buckle up. My dog, Dash," she wrote. She added the following day, "Vote for our nation, our kids and grandchildren. I'll do my best for you, friend." In spite of her firm tone on socio-economic concerns, her cinematic work has slowed down. Her most recent major motion picture was 80 Cours for Brady, released at the beginning of 2023. Major roles haven't come her way since Dot Manor. At one point, she said that Hollywood doesn't give older people adequate roles women. The combination of that lack of opportunity. Her health problems could be the reason she's increasing the amount of time spent at home. Additionally, she has openly discussed how her kids helped her get through difficult times. As stated, she just stated on RaiderOnline.com that her life was spared by children, although some sources today portray her as weak and aloof, away from the limelight. Despite everything, she's brutal, heartbreaking love tales and health problems, detractors, and fewer roles, Sally Field is still holding her head. She has nothing more to prove because she is high. What was Sally Field's life turning point? What has affected your career the most? Additionally, do you believe Hollywood goes far enough in back aging celebrities like Sally Field? Leave a comment with your ideas. Below. Additionally, remember to hit like, stay tuned for more, and subscribe. Amazing. Tales from Hollywood's intriguing past. I'll see you later.